Hello, Elizabeth here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a rainbow spiral rhinestone tumbler. This tumbler was so much fun to make, and it's one of my favorite rhinestone projects I've ever done. It took me about 7 hours to complete this tumbler from start to finish, which is actually not very long by rhinestone tumbler standards. I have some that have taken me over 30 hours. So this is a relatively quick project, and I'm going to walk you through everything step by step. I started with this blank 20-ounce skinny tumbler. For this project, I used 5mm white jelly rhinestones and 24 different colors of 3mm rhinestones from this variety pack. My favorite glue for rhinestone projects is called Gem Tack by the brand Beacon, and I transfer it into a precision tip bottle. I use a wax pencil that can be sharpened to pick up and place my rhinestones. You can find Amazon links for all of the products I used in the description of this video. First, you need to prep your tumbler for the rhinestones. Use a piece of sandpaper to gently rough up the entire surface of the tumbler. This will give the cup some texture and help the stones adhere to it better. Once it's all sanded, use a lint-free wipe and some rubbing alcohol to remove the sanded dust and any dirt or oil that could be on the surface of the tumbler. Then you're ready to start rhinestoning. Start by applying a thin layer of gem tack across the top edge of your tumbler. Then use your wax pencil to pick up and place the white rhinestones side by side. Continue adding more glue and rhinestones all the way around the top of your tumbler. When I got to the end of my row, I had 49 stones in the row and a tiny gap that was too big for one more. I want my row to be an even number of stones because of the colored pattern I'm doing. So I removed that last stone so that there would be 48 and then worked backwards, adding a very small amount of space between the stones to close in that final gap and make everything as evenly spaced as possible. I have 24 colors in my variety pack, which is perfect for the 48 stones I have around the cup. With the pattern I'm doing, I'll be able to use each of these colors twice per row. If I could only fit 46 or 44 stones, I would have just left out one or two of these colors. And if I had 50, I would have maybe doubled up on one or added a silver 3mm stone. So for this second row, you want to nestle each stone into the small gaps between the stones in the first row. I did them in proper rainbow order for an ombre effect. But of course, you can arrange your colors in any way you want. If you want yours to look like mine, here is the order in which I placed the colors. Hot pink, dark red, light red, copper, gold, dark orange, light orange, dark yellow, bright yellow, pale yellow, lime green, green, emerald green, pale blue, turquoise, light blue, dark blue, very dark blue, very dark purple, light purple, white, light pink, and pale pink. Because these stones are smaller than the white stones, there's a tiny bit of space between them. They don't touch side by side. But that's totally fine because the next row will be white again and will fill in all those little gaps and everything will fit together beautifully. I find it easiest to just place little dots of glue instead of a line because I know exactly where each stone will be placed, and it helps to keep everything clean and not waste any glue. These first two rows are most important because they're setting the guide and the framework for the rest of the cup, so really take your time to make sure they're nice and even all the way around the cup. So as I mentioned before, the third row will be white stones again. And these will be nestled into the gaps between the rainbow stones, which will place them directly below the white stones from the first row. Rhinestone patterns go by many different names. You may have heard the term honeycomb pattern before, which refers to what we're doing here, where the stones in each row are placed in the gaps between the stones of the previous row, and the finished result looks very much like a honeycomb. Often that pattern is done with stones that are all the same size, so sometimes when using two different sizes like this, people will call it a premium honeycomb, and there may be some other names for it as well. So row 4 is where the cascading spiral effect begins. So you're going to maintain the same order of colors you did in row 2, but this time everything will be shifted just one space to the right or left, doesn't matter, but I went right. So instead of orange being directly below orange, it will be below and one space over. And then you'll continue your color pattern in exactly the same order as before. And every time we do a rainbow row, we're going to shift it to the right one more space, which will result in the spiral pattern where the colors all work their way around the cup. So not only will there be rainbow ombre in each row from left to right, there will also be rainbow ombre in each column from top to bottom. If you don't want to have this spiral effect, you could just do the exact same pattern in every row with no shifting. And you'd end up with stripes of every color from top to bottom, which would look amazing as well, just different than this. And then again for row 5, you'll do another round of white stones. Doesn't matter where you start or finish because they're all the same. And row 6 is another rainbow row. Make sure to shift everything over once again if you're going for the rainbow spiral look. And here we are 6 rows in. You can see that ombre effect is already taking place, and even more so 15 rows in. So you're just going to keep repeating this pattern all the way down the cup. It's pretty tedious at first while you're trying to figure out your color placement, but once you do a few rows, you'll get into a groove and you'll know exactly which color comes next. It will get much quicker and easier as you go. The nice thing about gem tack is that it dries a little more slowly than some other glues. So if you do make a mistake and place the wrong color or your spacing needs a bit of adjusting, you have time to do that, so no stress. You may have a little bit of that white glue spilling out between your stones, and that's totally fine. It will dry clear and it will look beautiful when it's done. Try not to go too crazy with the glue. You don't want a huge mess of it oozing out and dripping everywhere or anything like that, but it's definitely better to use a little too much rather than too little. You want to make sure your stones are adhered nice and strong. It's hard to explain, but you'll almost be able to feel when there's not enough glue under your stone. When you place a rhinestone and lift your wax pencil back up, you'll feel that the stone is stuck on there well. And if there's not enough glue, it will feel different than that. So if you get that different feeling, you can just wipe the stone off and add a little more glue and try again. I hope this makes sense to you once you start working on your tumbler. A good tip for if your glue nozzle gets clogged is to use a straight pin, the kind you'd find in a sewing kit, and just stick it right through the nozzle to remove any built-up glue. They're the perfect size to fit through the tiny opening, and the little bead on the end will keep you from pushing it too far and losing it in your bottle. So at this point, the tumbler is almost done. It's looking gorgeous. I just have this small gap left at the bottom here. When I get to the bottom of my tumblers, I like to do the last few rows all at once instead of one by one. This is because the spacing can get a bit wonky here. So I want to make sure that my stones go all the way down to this bottom edge and I don't leave a gap there. And I also want to make sure my stones don't stick out overlapping the edge. So I like to do just a few stones in each of these final rows at a time and work my way to the bottom. It worked out that my stones fit pretty much perfectly without having to adjust the spacing at all. I just had to make sure my spacing was super tight so that the last row of white stones wouldn't hang over that edge at all. But say for example, I couldn't fit that last row of white stones without overlapping the edge. What I would do at this point is put a tiny bit of space between the last 3 rows so that the final rainbow row would be along that bottom edge and not leave a weird gap. Leaving a tiny bit of space between 3 different rows is pretty much completely undetectable. Whereas if you just leave a gap before the very last row, that would be much more significant and visible. So that's the reason I do 3 or 4 rows at the end all at once. That way I can add a very small amount of space between each of them if I need to. I'm cutting it really close here with my final row, so I keep testing it by standing it up and setting it on the table just to ensure that there's definitely no overhang that will interfere with the way it sits. And here is the final result. I think this turned out so beautifully. I love how all the colors look together and the spiral effect is so fun. This is a Christmas gift from my mom and I think she's going to love it. I'm so excited to give it to her. Once your tumbler is done, you want to let the glue dry for a full 7 days. And then you can wash it to remove any excess glue or wax residue on the stones and make it super sparkly. I have another video tutorial demonstrating how to wash a rhinestone tumbler if you've never done it before. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and if you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment letting me know what sort of projects you'd like to see in the future. See you later!